The Middle East is on fire. Last night, the United States attacked Iranian nuclear facilities, officially joining the war. Iran responded with missile strikes on Tel Aviv. Tehran also announced retaliation against U.S. forces in the Middle East. Most bases are on high alert. The world is also watching the Strait of Hormuz with concern, as its blockade, announced by Iran, could lead to a significant increase in oil prices. Bunker Buster. The largest and most powerful penetrating bombs in the world have hit their targets for the first time in combat conditions. They were built for this very purpose. They were designed to penetrate underground bunkers in Iran.
Tonight I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
At 1:30 a.m. Polish time, American B-2 bombers attacked the largest underground nuclear base in Fordo as part of Operation Midnight Hammer. From submarines, the U.S. Navy fired 30 Tomahawk missiles, which struck two other installations in Natanz and Isfahan. An hour and a half later, the U.S. president announced to the world that the United States had officially launched operations against Iran's nuclear program.
The order we received from our commander-in-chief was focused, it was powerful, and it was clear. We devastated the Iranian nuclear program. But it's worth noting the operation did not target Iranian troops or the Iranian people. For the entirety of his time in office, President Trump has consistently stated for over 10 years that Iran must not get a nuclear weapon.
According to U.S. and Israeli authorities, the attack was a complete success. Do you remember that from the beginning of the operation, I promised you that Iran's nuclear facilities would be destroyed sooner or later? That promise has just been fulfilled. Iran, however, maintains that the damage is limited and that the uranium stored in underground bunkers was transported to another safe location a few days ago. We are going through a sensitive period. You yourselves are witnesses that your brother's operations in the airspace are continuing and depriving the Zionists of security. But thank God, we see that despite the bombings, the unity and cohesion of the people is growing every day. This is truly a divine blessing. Both Israel and the United States are calling on Iran to surrender and begin negotiations. Tehran, however, rejects any ultimatum and promises bloody retaliation.
Of course, the door for diplomacy should be always keep open, but this is not the case right now. My country has been under attack, under aggression, and we have to respond based on our legitimate right of self-defense. And we will do that as long as needed and necessary.
According to announcements, Iran may strike U.S. bases in the region. These are located in Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Iraq, and Syria. Political commentators in the Iranian pro-government media are already calling for this. The U.S. president has clearly stated that he has committed this great crime against the Iranian people. From this moment on, Iran does not recognize any red lines. The Islamic Republic of Iran now considers all U.S. military bases in the region and all 40,000 to 50,000 American soldiers stationed here to be legitimate targets. However, the move that analysts have been warning about in recent days may have much greater and more tangible consequences for the world. This is the possible blockade of the Strait of Hormuz, through which up to 30% of the world's oil is transported every day. In recent days, the price of oil has risen sharply. It is almost certain that after the U.S. attack, there will be further increases on the markets. If the strait is blocked, the price of oil could rise to as much as $100 to $120 per barrel, which could lead to a global crisis. The Iranian parliament has just approved the blockade of the strait. The final decision will be made by the country's Security Council.
The warmongering and lawless administration in Washington is solely and fully responsible for the dangerous consequences and far-reaching implications of its act of aggression.
It is also unclear what Iran's allies in the region will do. Militants in Yemen and Lebanon have already announced attacks on U.S. forces. China and Russia have condemned the U.S. attack, while Turkey has warned against the conflict spreading to other countries. In turn, Americans are warning Iran's allies against risky moves.
As President Trump has stated, the United States does not seek war. But let me be clear. We will act swiftly and decisively when our people, our partners, or our interests are threatened. Iran should listen to the President of the United States and know that he means it, every word.
Iran has called for an urgent meeting of the UN Security Council. It has also threatened to withdraw from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. Iran's allies, mainly Russian politicians, suggest that Iran could obtain such weapons from its partners as a reward for its military cooperation to date.